Right, guys, this video is going to be just a little bit different. It's basically me showing two examples of check-ins I give my clients per week. So my coaching is not just like some dollar store bullshit, powerlifting programming, like here's your program, good luck, whatever. Like, no, it's super in-depth, high premium stuff. So with all my clients, they're going to have 24/7 access to me to ask questions, weekly check-ins via either a phone call or a video, asynchronous video check-in, which is what I have recorded here, depending on what works best for the client, what they prefer. This is really how I get the best results. Like, there's plenty of coaches out there that have a dollar store service, just run-of-the-mill programming, not comprehensive powerlifting coaching, not comprehensive coaching in general. My coaching offers PED coaching if that's needed, to make sure you can do that safely. It also offers technique feedback. It offers mindset coaching. It's attempt selection strategy. It's programming that adjusts and evolves with you. It's technique feedback. It's nutritional help with meal timing, creating your own meal plan, etc. It's fully comprehensive. Everything is in depth. And most powerlifting coaches, what they only do is texting back and forth. Programming that's really not tailored to you as an individual. It's just kind of copy and paste, and you kind of get half-assed responses. And there's a reason why I keep my powerlifting roster smaller, because so I can offer a premium service. You get what you pay for with a lot of this stuff. So there's a reason why I have tons of results on my Instagram page, testimonials from my clients and whatnot, because I do things differently than most other coaches. I'm trying to set a new standard for powerlifting coaching. So you guys are going to see what that looks like right here a little bit. If you guys are interested in working with me and getting as strong as possible in 90 days, and really my programming and coaching is designed to get you your dream physique in just 90 days, look aesthetic as hell on the platform, allow you to really dominate the platform, achieve your genetic potential too, without really wasting your time and hard-earned money. I know that your money is valuable to you. That's also why I count on my roster at like 30 clients for right now, because I want to be able to offer a premium service to those few people that trust me. It's a responsibility to take very seriously. So anyways, you guys get it. I'll show you the video right now. If you guys have any questions, want to work down below, applications down below in the description, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. And I would love to work with you. Again, 100% money back guaranteed. If you work with me, do everything that I tell you to do, and you don't see the progress that you want, or you whatever, like, I'll refund you, because I should only get paid if I get you results. So anyways, enjoy the video. Hey, Oscar. So dude, happy to see that you are back from the dead, so to speak. I'm back to training after a couple of weeks. Ideally, this happened after your meet and not going into, your nationals. So, although it sucks, all things considered, it could have been worse timing. So, you got lots of really great points here. So I wanted to go over them. Again, dude, it always amazes me that you're only like 17, because you talk much more, like, your communication is so much clearer than lots of my older clients. So I think that you have a good idea with basically just saying, I don't really feel beat up from this day. It's pretty low volume pressing. I also have a rest day before this, and maybe just put things a little bit of a different layout. Nothing wrong with that at all. Especially coming in a little bit earlier on in your training week. So let's keep that. I like the idea with bench press. One thing I was considering is maybe instead of putting this 3-count pause bench day, though, I kind of want to put like your higher volume bench day on here, because if we're thinking about like typical DUP split, we have like strength, hypertrophy, power. That's sort of like the order that you want to have. People are calling those power days more primer days, which I kind of like that term a little bit more right now. But that's sort of how you want to do things. What the hell? So I think that makes sense. One other thing too is that I think that in general, like with your bench press, we kind of know that you respond a lot better to higher intensities, which I think is why you just tolerate like a little bit more volume. And I think that's why keeping in a couple singles per week is going to be like just a good idea, with having a little bit more lower volume later on the week, or higher volume with like lower RP would be a little bit better for you. Also going over your input on just putting a pause deadlift and then going into like an RDL, basically changing that layout. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. One thing I do want to probably do though is probably do like this like ascending sets. So I'm probably going to put like a note in here and say like ascending sets. and say to add 10 kilos up to target RPE. That's what I would like doing on like a secondary day, especially like a deadlift. It tends to be a little more sensitive to that top end intensity. Should be a 3x4, not 2x4. I like a setting sets with that. I know that your eye detector does feel good, and that's great. But we don't want to like basically make that same mistake that you wanted to do last time of, well, I feel good and I think I can do a lot more volume, so therefore I'm just going to do all this more volume because we kind of knew how that ended last time, right? So being really patient with our progressions and logical is going to be the best thing there. So that's what I would say. And then I know that you said that, I feel like going down to one set is a little bit not much, is like kind of a big reduction. And that is the main reason why I was doing that though, is because like deadlift tends to need like a larger taper of volume down, especially like feeling a little bit more fresh. But it's like that's like what my coach would actually give me on my training. So I normally do like 3 sets of like, it's a single, then like a 3x7 this block, and my last week I just do a single and like a 1x7, because like, we want to basically make sure that we are lowering down fatigue enough to have productive training for a while. So tell you what, let's see how you're feeling around like, week 4, and we can go off of that with how much, we do make adjustments in our week 5 of the training block. And obviously this is also a new block length. And I think that, you had a great question about, how do I pace my progression? What's a good mindset around things? And, that's a really great question. This is something that, a lot of times, people overcomplicate the progression thing, in my opinion, because all it's about is just starting out with the right RPEs on on the first week, and then just really just trying your hardest just to be as objective with yourself, like week to week, with just hitting the RPE. And if you think about it, with those larger jumps that Marcellus will talk about, or that's him going off, well, that's like my fatigue pattern. Like that's what I found consistently. That's about how fatigued I get, and that's about how much my fitness decays, then it increases to a large extent over across the training block. Whereas for like myself, like if you look over like what I've been doing, you can see that like my deadlift, like I start off at like literally 310 on my first week, 310 to 694, then 716. That was just like how I felt I was adapting. So really, I think the most important thing is getting that week 1 right with your overall training intensity, because that sets the tone for the rest of the block. And then block to block, just go off of your warm-ups. You should always have these indicator weights saying this is about how strong I feel on this day. This is how strong I don't feel. And then you can just go off of that and say, okay, awesome. Well, based off of what I'm feeling, I'm going to go choose this weight for my top set. It really is like that simple. It's hard in practice, especially if you're like, well, I have to add a weight every single week. Like, no, you don't. Like, just really come in and be objective about your performance. And just one of the things I do want you to think about is, I want on your primary days, which is going to be, like if you're looking over your block, this is your primary squat, primary deadlift, and then your primary bench press is right here. I want those to feel explosive. I want you to feel like you're able to move fast and move well on those days, and also just strength is there. I found like explosiveness is a really good one. I'm okay if you feel a little bit laggy, a little bit slower on like these other days. Like, I felt really explosive on this day when I hit 716 for obvious reasons. Felt really laggy on like this day. That's fine. It's a secondary day. It's going to be holding some fatigue. Also, not really having the mindset like, oh, this is a secondary day. Just going off of the fatigue patterns, because again, what you kind of did tell me, at least from what I'm understanding, is I've noticed, like you just have noticed that you feel stronger on this month, on this day 2 on bench press. Awesome. That's really what I need to know as your coach. Is like, coaching is high level auto regulation and guiding you to make the best training choices. And so it's like, awesome, let's move that top set there on that day. That's going to be really good. Something else that we could do on your secondary days, if you're finding that or tertiary days, you're finding it's hard for you to like stay like submaximal, I can start bringing in like some percentages if you do find that you need that. So yeah, all really good stuff though. A great start. I want to go over your technique stuff before the video gets a little bit too long. First of all, yeah, your back looks really good, like looking jacked as hell. You didn't say much about bench press. It looks good. Quick pause, but I don't really give a shit. Like, it moves super fast. Now going over like the whole pronation thing versus supination in your foot, the main thing there is wanting to feel more big toe pressure off the floor. This was really good. I like this set a lot better than like your other set. But really you want to basically find like that big toe pressure. Like what I'm doing right here on my sumo deadlift, like all the time, you kind of will see me do like that really weird like bounce thing. That's me literally feeling my foot pressure and feeling like my big toe down, keeping my foot a little bit more flat. And then I'm able to basically drag through my whole entire foot. Because basically what you're basically saying is, you know, when I'm starting off more supinated, I'm wasting some energy getting into position. I'm not able to like feel my center of mass as well, right? So as I would get a little bit more like on that, like feel that big toe pressure and just really understand that the main thing with your supination is you're starting off a little bit too far back onto your heels, mostly what's happening. So a little bit more big toe pressure off the floor should honestly fix things by quite a bit. Ugh. And yeah, bench will probably take a big leap. You know, I think that you're getting like more jacked, like you don't look any fatter too, which is cool. Teenager gains. Good pause. I was really happy with this when I saw on your story. I know that you mentioned that you're noticing that, you know, this elbow's a little bit further back. That could be causing your hip shift. Yes, it could be. This also could be an issue of like external like rotation at your shoulders. So one thing that you can do, like before you do get under the squat bar, is like do like some Y raises with like a band, or like if you have like a barbell, just like put like your shoulders like back like this and like just stretch out your shoulders a little bit. I wouldn't worry about it too much if it's not causing you pain, because if you look at your top squat, like I know it's like, you know, it's not like the prettiest thing, Oscar, but like it's not interfering with your strength. You know, it's kind of like Amanda Lawrence, how she has a similar thing, or like her elbow is a little bit like further back, but it's not interfering with her ability to like squat. And that's so minor, man. It's not even like really noticeable. One thing, it does look like this is a little bit wider than your left arm. So maybe, you know, try to just have a little bit more of an even setup on the bar. Also looks like your elbows are a little bit more extended on that right side. That's why your elbows are able to get a little bit more under the bar. So maybe try to, you know, focusing a little more on that extension of your wrist, and that should help you out with your positioning. One thing too there is that it looks like your hips recede a little bit, so have just a little more big toe pressure when you start off. Essentially, Oscar, any sort of deviation in technique that we see later on down the line, usually, and especially if it's center mass related, is because you start like too far back on your heels or too far forward onto your big toe, like, and that's why you're feeling that way. So hopefully that makes sense. So again, like start off a little bit more like big toe pressure on like both squats and deadlifts, and that should help you out with a lot of the issues that we're seeing. Yeah, relaxation was really good. Again, like I like the cue of like thinking like you have like stretchy arms. That really just loosens your arms. It's going to have like a long reach, and good speed for a week one. And then I think that, yeah, I mean, it was a little bit too close, but not like a big deal. Yeah, I think like regardless, the reason why that's also happening is because like when you pronate your foot over, your knees are going to come forward more. So I think that will fix things anyways, with like how you're setting up. Looks really good. Your foot looks a lot more pronated. Good head position too. Yeah, man, it looks to me like you got your week one weights down basically right how I wanted them to be. So I think we're doing a great job right now. You know, I've just paced your progression like slowly and just see like what's happening and go off of like your RB and just be on with that. So if I check in, if you have any questions, just let me know. Hey dude, I think that first off, it's going to be like, you know, with any sort of a new technique change, it does just take some time to get that down. So when you were saying, you know, I feel kind of weird when I don't have my my knees in the way, or I'm not just trying to keep the bar like as close to my body as possible. Like the thing about that is that you basically don't want to keep it like as close to your body as possible. You want it to basically be over midfoot the entire time, and like that's really what matters. And like dropping it down is totally fine, and that makes sense. Like why we're seeing that sort of squat down. By the way, just how you trying to basically keep the bar as close to your body as possible. So changing that is definitely smart. So that's what I would recommend starting to do. And then, it looks like you said that this felt better though. So a little bit of conflicting feedback there, but that's totally fine. You're still going to be getting things down better. Also happy to hear that, lots of the cues I said were really helpful. If bands aren't available too, like you can actually use like a yoga mat, that helps out quite a bit on bench press. But it's great to see, you finally getting past that 225 barrier mentally. So great to see. I know that you said that it was a little bit of touch and go, which makes sense. You lost that arch and that good setup. So just focus on being a little bit more patient with yourself on that stuff. And then if you're noticing, okay, something's kind of off, like with my setup, maybe look around for like a mat. Especially, I know that it could be hard to get a lot of leg tension and keep your chest high on a bench press that just doesn't have like, anything that you could basically stick to. So that's one of the things that I would recommend doing. Going over like the body weight too and getting in the extra calories. So perfect, basically this is exactly a sign that you are in a surplus with a little bit of a bump up scale weight. And then, just like having it doesn't have to go like another meal, just adding like little portions, like a protein bar at like the end of your day. Like that's just like something that's super easy. It's like, unfortunately, like, surpluses just aren't like big enough really even for like a meal, unless you're like in a 500,000 calories surplus. And for most people, that's going to result in excessive fat gain. Like typically the sweet spot is like 200 to 300 calories above maintenance in general. So that's what I would keep doing. Maybe if you could send over like a screenshot like what you're eating throughout your day too, like I could give you some suggestions on what I would maybe change, what might help you out with getting your calories down a little bit easier. So just send that over when you have the time. I'd love to look over that. But yeah, really great. You're yourself getting in those calories, and as long as you just get those habits down, it's going to be great. So let's see how the technique is looking this week. Much better job on that lowering part. Good job seeing that hinge. I think off the floor, a little bit more big toe pressure would be really good. Essentially, just keeping the bar just keeping your big toe pressure a little bit there. That's going to help you out with basically, if you look at how you are going off, it's like you're leaning back a little bit too soon. So like right here, what happens here is you basically start to lean back. I don't want you to lean back. I just want you to think of just standing tall. So instead of leaning back, and just locking those knees really, really hard before you actually do lean back. Like a good example of this is if you look at how I deadlift conventional. It's also the sumo, but you can see how instead of like leaning back, I'm just basically thinking of just locking my knees. So bam, lock the knees, and then I lean back. That wasn't the best one because I started a little bit like too far away, but you can still see, like if you look at this, knees lock, and then I lean back. So that's just something to think about. Maybe just think of like squeezing your quads, like flexing them. That could be a helpful cue. So the same thing there, just a little more big toe pressure. You can see how your hips are kind of receding a little bit too much, like immediately. What might actually be helpful in general is if you have your hips just a little bit higher, because I think you're trying to have your hips just a little bit too low. I would think about pushing those hips back a little bit more. And because if you look at like how you deadlift, like it immediately goes back to this position where your hips are a little bit higher. So I would start off probably more like just a little bit further back with your hips. So like instead of like right there, maybe just have your hips just a little bit higher, because if you look at that, there's not a ton of tension in your upper body. That's another reason why things are a little bit weird off the floor. So have those hips just a little bit higher. It's actually going to be like helpful for you, like anyways, like the more deadlift strength, because your hips are higher. There's less like space bar that you have to basically move your hips through. So I would start with those hips just a little bit higher. Just feel tension in your legs and in your hips, and then just push off the floor. The eccentric, it looks a lot better though here. So I'm happy with that. That's really the main thing I would change though. Nice job in Crocs too for extra bonus points. I love it. A good setup. I think that I like this. This new foot position looks a lot better. I like that you said that not really a pause there, but like moving super fast. Again, like when you are pausing, always count 0-1 to keep yourself honest. I know that you said that you slipped on this, and so again, I would look around for like a yoga mat next time that this does happen. Should help out quite a bit. Yeah, definitely, around like a 9.5. I think one thing that you could do also is like as you are lowering down the bar, less tuck of your elbows and more just have like a break that's straight down. So like from right here, just go straight down with your elbows leading that down to your chest instead of going like this weird tucking motion, like you're doing like there. You're also like, it basically causes you to lose like your wrist angle. That's why it also feels kind of unstable around your chest. Like I didn't see any slipping really there, but I know that you said that, you felt it. That's just the main thing I would say. Break out those elbows first. Just to keep that more stacked joint position. But other than that, man, things are looking pretty good. And yeah, there's gonna be some days where you don't really feel like going to the gym, but you still get it in, and regardless, do your job or something like that. So happy to see that, you still got it in. Hopefully you're feeling better too with like just having a little bit more body weight, adding a little more muscle. Again, like long term, like really like my main goals for you right now is I want to get you like more muscle growth while also improving your technique. So I think those are the two main things we still need to work on the most. So like with this, just really make sure you're also pushing your accessories hard. Like there should be like significant rep speed slow down on all of your sets of accessories. And then just really focus on excellent technique while still adding weight to the bar while maintaining that good technique on your list. That's what I would recommend for right now. But overall, happy to see that things are going well. So yeah, I'll send this over. If you have any questions, just let me know.